Welcome back, everybody. And Bobby, I got something that I think you may have an opinion or two on, okay?
Uh-oh.
Discipline versus creativity. Can you, as an artist, as a creator, have a disciplined schedule where you work on a regular basis from, whether it's the typical 9 to 5 schedule, okay, or whatever that schedule works out in your day, or is it better to wait until you are inspired? Should you wait for a spontaneous? Are you going to draw better, create better, write better when you feel that creativity and that excitement that you want to get into that project? Which is the better way to do things?
See, which is I don't know if there is a better or worse way to do things. Myself, I try to look at it as a job, even though it's something that I really enjoy. It's a hobby. It's a job. Does inspiration strikes? Yes, definitely. Because I've constantly, you know me, I've constantly got 4 or 5 projects going on in my head all the time, from comics to novels to D&D game. So there's like 4 or 5, and they're like totally different projects all the time. So when one hits me stronger than the other, I jump on it. Now, unfortunately, sometimes because I have so many projects, some of these do get put off. And sometimes they get put off a lot longer than I ever dreamed they would be. So, but for myself, I try to look at this as a job, especially when I do something and I say I'm going to deliver on time, like a Kickstarter project. Now, that Kickstarter project will now be a job. There's no procrastinating and no getting around it. There's a deadline. There's a work frame. We've got to meet all these different criteria to get this delivered to the customer because that's what we said. I know some Kickstarter guys who still want to procrastinate and hold back and don't ship their stuff. That's just looks bad on you. It just does. And the biggest thing is communication. So I guess it also depends on your lifestyle. Do you work a 9 to 5 job somewhere else? It's not creative, but I know it's what you got to do for you and your family. So your creative stuff is just your evenings, your weekends. It's a hobby. Then yeah, you're definitely working on inspiration. I always think it's better if you look on a project though as a job and break it down into the processes that it's going to take to get it there. I don't know. I think you need to take advantage of opportunities, especially like what's going on right now. So many people having to stay at home and stuff. If you're staying at home and you have an opportunity to branch out, to reach and set your goals and meet them, take advantage of that, man. Jump on it. Don't just lag around.
Well, it's too easy to say, I gave you a very kind of a setup question because the ultimate answer is that's some of both. But that's too easy and too pat an answer just to say, well, do both,
Right.
Be disciplined and wait till you're, and be inspired, because it's finding that balance between the two of them that is so difficult for so many creators. Because being disciplined, I mean, if you play guitar, okay, you can't not play guitar for 6 months and then pick up the guitar and play as well as you did 6 months ago. There's muscle memory. There's the physicality of playing an instrument that if you don't keep those literal muscles in shape, you're not going to do as well. All right.
Right.
The same thing is true for an artist, okay? If you are drawing every couple of months, okay, you lose that dexterity, that muscle memory of, how to draw. You cannot pick up where you left off. You do fall behind.
Well, also you do pick up where you sort of left off as far as talent, and you're not expanding. The more you draw, the more you find little ways to get, I don't want to say shortcuts, but to do things better and maybe even faster. So when you're not constantly drawing, you're never pushing the boundaries of how to create. So you're constantly stuck in that 1990s image style, and you're never getting past that. You're not looking into better ways to do lighting and shadows. You're not looking at different ways to take your art using thin thicks. You pick it up every couple months and say, yeah, I'll draw this figure, or I'll draw this comic, boom, 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 and then come back to it. So you're not pushing yourself to get better either. You're falling back on what your skills are.
True. A lot of people can see that more physical nature of drawing, but they don't think of that so much for writing because, you're not using a keyboard to type for speed when you're writing, but you have the same mental muscles that if you're not writing on a regular basis, it doesn't, again, you have to get back into the mind frame, and you don't progress in your skills of how to structure your stories. Just the plain practice of making writing something that you do on a regular basis or an everyday basis is, I think writers can be even more susceptible to, I'll wait until I get inspired by a story idea.
I'm raising my hand.
Yes,
I could see I just did that. Unfortunately, I came to a snag point, Camelot Forever, and I was like, okay. So I went off and did other things with the story constantly in my mind, and then got hit by inspiration, not on just the novel I was writing, but the second novel was also I have in progress. And once the inspiration hit me on the first one, I was able to just sit down and just within a few days wrap up what I was hanging on to. Unfortunately, there was a long period of time there that I did not write, so my skill set did not get better. I reread it now and go, oh, okay. I do write as fast as I can because I want to get it down on paper. Then I'll come back and rewrite it. It's not the proper term, but to add to it, to fluff it up, to put in the details. I'll come back and add in more details and more information.
That's a perfectly legitimate technique, is to do a flurry of getting all the main ideas that down on paper, and then coming back to work that to give it more form and shape and texture. Okay, so a lot of ways that an artist will do with a pencil drawing too.
Yes, and I'll be honest. I always thought, oh man, you can write. It's not as easy as some people want to make it. There is a lot of technique to it. I find myself listening to a lot of authors because I have more time to listen to actually sit down and read books now. And the thing is, I'm listening to these authors, and yes, I get into the stories and stuff, but also I'm listening to how they do certain things and describe different things. And some authors will spend a whole chapter on just one little incident. Other ones will move things along pretty quickly. So I'm listening to different ways that these guys are explaining their stories and telling me a story to absorb. So then I can use that for myself. So I know most authors probably out there do listen and read a lot of books that they enjoy. It's like us reading comics, and we enjoy those then we create our own comic.
Well, it's easier for someone to see an artist to watch their artwork improve. It's more concrete. Watching the process is more concrete. Watching a writer work, okay, is not as fascinating. You will see, YouTube tutorials of how to draw or how to ink. You never really see a YouTube tutorial of Stephen King sitting at his typewriter.
No.
It's just doesn't work the same way. But there is so much of the same process is going on. It's just going on in your head. It's not, as physical. Sometimes your story you were working out in the back of your mind as you're going through day-to-day events, okay? But when you sat down to write it again, the actual writing was a little bit harder. If you were writing every day, just writing something, not your main story, but just writing, I'm going to write a page of just this incident, okay? Mm-hmm. Those it's like doing warm-up exercises at the piano, okay? It's not, it's not your performance, but it's, if you keep those warm-up exercises going, then you find that you're going to be better when it comes to, now I've got that creative burst. Now I really know where this story is going.
Right. No, I agree. It's just like keeping a sketchbook for artists. You sketch around in the sketchbook just to stay warm and fragile and try different things. And then when you sit down to create the art, you feel good. I agree. And that's something I'm working on, is to do more daily writing. My writing, I'm amazed. I don't know how to put it, but when I sit down and I know I got an idea and I'm writing it, and then all this other stuff floods in. So I love to sit down and talk to some writers because, coming from the art end of this, it's so, you talk to artists about how you draw perspectives into 1, 2, 3 points, blah, blah, blah. But from artists, I mean, do you have everything planned when you sit down? Because I do not. I sit down and plan, and then the story just starts flowing. And as I'm typing, I go, oh, but we can go over here and do this. And, oh, but this can tie into this. So then I'm adding this. And then when I go back and reread it, that's when I start connecting the dots between some of the different things.
Well, your prose style is very much a natural storyteller. You keep mentioning telling the story. That's how you write, is I have a story to tell you. Some writers are so involved in their flourishes, okay? I'm using this literary technique and blah, 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 blah. And that can be a very good writer, don't get me wrong, okay? But I really have a lot of admiration for someone who just has a great story to tell and pulls you along in that story where you want to turn the page to find out what happens next, okay?
Yeah.
And that's your initial pass is the story, the pure story. And then your second pass is adding, well, let me add some texture and details and more description, okay, to more pull you into the world of the story, you know? And it does remind me of someone doing the rough pencil sketches to outline a figure, okay, and then going back and adding the detail to actually finish in the full structure of, you know, but without that initial, you know, storytelling of your layouts for an artist, you can draw as pretty as you want. If your storytelling is not good, I can't tell what you're trying to tell me, you know?
Right. Get back there a minute. Yeah. You said there's supposed to be techniques to this writing shit. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Well, there are techniques, okay? No, but you're the type of writer that someone, all right, a literary professor will sit down and tell you what your techniques are. And you go, yeah, I knew I was doing that. Okay.
Oh,
you just
okay.
Just bluff them. Okay. You know, but they can go over it and tell you what techniques you are actually using, but you're not so absorbed in the artifice of it that you are not you care about, I want my story told. Okay. Right. And I think that's a better type of writer. I think more people prefer that type of writer than someone who's just trying to, you know, baffle you with their arcane knowledge of technique. Okay.
Right. I'm just having fun. I've got a story that I want to tell, and I'm going to have fun with it. And, you know, if people want to jump on board, I hope some people want to jump on board. If they want to, then great.
Well, so that goes back to our core. Yeah. That goes back to our core discussion here is the discipline. Can you, as an artist, say, I'm going to draw for these 2 hours every day? Are you going to produce the same amount of work in those 2 hours every single day? Sometimes you're going to be. That's a tough question, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because it just depends on the day. Unfortunately, creativity sometimes can't be turned on and be turned off. There's some days that hit you. Some days it wakes you up middle of the night and you go, oh, I got to get that. And you get up.
I got to get to the typewriter.
Yeah.
I got to get to the drawing board now.
3 o'clock in the morning, and you just went to bed at midnight, you know. Yeah. There's some days you get up and you just drag through it and sit down to stare and go, no, this ain't getting it. This ain't getting it.
And it's a difficult job for you to know yourself, to know when it's just not going to happen. You're pushing it. It's not time. Or when you should push yourself to say, look, if I just keep waiting for inspiration to strike, how long is this project going to take? Okay.
Right.
You know, I want to draw a 20-page comic book. I've been working on it for 2 years. Now, is that a reasonable time span? Okay.
No, you need to bring in some people to motivate you at that point. You know, if you're not pulling that off, you need to reach out, because, and it's like with ShoutFyre, you know, we're putting together the Facebook page, private group. It's a group for people to get out there and get inspiration and encouragement. It's small now because ShoutFyre is small, but it will grow. The thing is, if you feel like you're not getting where you want to be, reach out, get some people to get with you, suggestions, be open to it. You can't just go in there with, I just want to do this, but then you're wasting your time reaching out. But if you're open to it, reach out, you know, bring some people in, discuss what's going on. I know Bill Nichols used to meet up with a group of creators down there on a weekly basis, and they talk about comics and different things that's going on and share ideas. You and I discuss comics and stuff that's going on. Me and Nichols do the same thing on almost a weekly basis. So it's like when you have a core group around you, it can help you keep moving forward, and you don't get stuck with the 2-year gap and going, oh, it's not very.
So your first step is self-discipline of like, I'm going to sit down and put in the work. I'm going to do the work with pencils, with inks, at the typewriter, and actually put effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a second time where you are just like, I can't do or think of anything else. I'm going to use this creative burst and get as much as I can done. But then there's also the discipline of going over, what did I do during this creative burst, and what now do I have to structure it so that it actually is finished as a product, not just, oh, look, I did a great pencil drawing, okay, but let's do it to completion,
Right.
But there's also times when you say you not force the creativity, but you have to look outside of yourself to get back to that feeling of that creative energy, because you can burn yourself out, but other people can help to ignite those fires in you again.
Yeah. And the cool thing with the net and everything now, I mean, one of my greatest times was having a studio, and you get all jazzed up and get everybody else all jazzed up, and you're throwing ideas and bouncing stuff around. That was a blast. We can do that on the net now, and we've been able to do it for a long time. But you can get into the Facebook groups, and you get into chats and Google meetings and all that. Use it the same way, but stay encouraged. Keep yourself moving forward. It's just you can get yourself burned out. I don't know. I don't.
You can be so close to your own project that you can't see the flaws,
yes.
But you also can't see what's good about it. Okay.
Yes.
You can become hypercritical of your own work where, no, I mean, yeah, there are flaws that can be improved, but no, it's not all garbage. Okay. There's a medium ground there. And sometimes you need that other perspective. Sometimes it's from a friend who is not a creative. Okay. But they're just going to give you some praise, and you need that's helpful. But sometimes you need that feedback from someone else who's going through what you're going through. And, it might not be as much pure praise, there could be some more constructive criticism, but that praise that you do get means more because it's from someone who knows what you're going through.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you what, some of the greatest praise I've got was getting a star from Wendy when she read my script for Camelot Forever. Yes, hey people, she's a school teacher, so just let you know. Hey, that was
many
fun.
years teaching elementary school, and well, yes, but you didn't only get that star when you got that frowny face earlier.
Oh, I
Man,
know.
that one hurt, didn't it?
That one did hurt. That one did.
Yeah.
But we fixed it.
Yes.
We came back.
But you came back. You got that star.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but it is funny how the fact that she was a school teacher and uses those same techniques you remember from a child, and go like, man, this is serious. I can't deal with this frowny face. I got to fix this. Okay.
That's right.
I got to earn that star.
But you have to reach out to people and stay motivated if that's what you need. So self-discipline, if you're good at it, it works. If not, try to build a community around yourself to get you to your goals. I think, that's sort of what you've got to do. Or look at it as a job. Every day I'm going to put 3 hours. I'm going to go down to the studio, put 3 hours in.
But I think having that connection to community helps you to maintain that discipline. There's an ego to it. Okay. Your feelings are an important part of this. Emotion is an important part of creating anything. Okay. And your motivation can't always all come from yourself. I mean, you have to be self-motivated to a degree, but you need to know when, I need that extra boost. I need someone to help to motivate me. And then it's easier to get back to that discipline again. Okay. Yes. Look for those creative bursts, make use of them, but don't rely on them completely. You have to have that balance between discipline and pure creativity.
Right. Nope. I agree.
Okay. Well, I think that does wrap it for today, Bob. We're kind of out of time here, but I think that was a really good discussion of saying, well, no, it's not just the balance, but how do you create that balance? And that's an important thing that as a creative person, you have to learn and then relearn and relearn. Am I right?
Yes. Yep. Stay disciplined, work on it, create your skills, have fun at the end of the day. It's what we're doing this, whether it's a hobby or a job. We decided to get in this crazy industry because we like it and enjoy it and want to have fun. So, yep.
I think that's the perfect last word. Thanks so much for your time today, Bob. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Bye-bye.